Hello everybody, it's me. I'm home. I figured it'd be easier to do a video blog than to write out one of my long novels that usually put people to sleep, especially me when I'm in the middle of writing them. If you hear some funky noise in the background, our refrigerator apparently is about to explode. So either Tom Cruise will come here and fix my refrigerator and all of a sudden mission is completed, or I don't know what Aaron's got going on. However, I'm using my computer to do this blog. My iPad is sitting here, but I move it too much and I get too antsy to sit there and hold it. So I'm using my laptop, and I may be able to upload this video or I may not be able to. So we shall see. I have no idea where my purse is. Aaron took that home with him, so most likely he left my phone, or I'm sorry, my purse with everything that I own in it in his truck for the past 2 days. So the new phone that I just bought will probably melt, and all my makeup, we'll say for Halloween, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But luckily I'm smart, and I buy more than just one pack, so we're good, because I didn't have it in my car when Aaron left the hospital. I made sure to keep my car keys there. He wanted to get his friend Kelso to come down and grab my car, and I'm like, oh hell no, because when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. So I will take a couple minutes to explain what's going on. I know there's been a lot of things said on Facebook. I know I said a lot of things on a video messages while I was in Tennessee, and I just want to clear some stuff up, I guess, and it may or may not piss some people off, but it's my video and not theirs, and of course you all are capable of having your own feelings on the situation. So here it goes. It all began, first off, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that me going to the hospital, I voluntarily, I guess you can say, committed myself, or I voluntarily went in knowing that I mentally was not in the right state. Of course, I have a long history of dealing with psychiatrists and being on different antidepressants and shit like that, but forgive me, cigarettes important. But I was really getting nowhere. Aaron did get me insurance after the whole cancer scare, which I'll explain as well. So yeah, I don't know why my cigarettes freaking do that. They like, anyways. So, but I'm going to take the time and I'm going to explain, because I know that there's been some half-assed shit going on. So, I'm going to explain it from my point of view. Again, it may upset some people. Maybe it will clarify some things for some people. And maybe I just need to get it off my chest so it will be out there. And I'm not looking for anybody's forgiveness for how I feel or anything that I've said. I don't feel that I said anything wrong. I think I've said the truth. But anyway, so let's start at the beginning. Back in the middle of, can you believe I don't even know what freaking month it is? Back in the middle of July, or the 1st of July, I had severe stomach pain, and a lot of you know that back in 2009 I had gastric sleeve surgery, and there's some controversy on what exactly that means. Well, basically what that means is the doctor went inside my stomach. It's a weight loss surgery. He went inside my stomach and cut my stomach out. He removed my stomach and just cut it to basically be the size of string cheese. So in my case, my stomach is actually more like the size of a banana and has this very weird L shape. So my esophagus goes down into my stomach, and my stomach has this corner, which I wasn't aware of. So it has this corner, and then it has a little bit of stomach, and then boof, goes into my small intestines. Well, as weight loss patients know, after surgery, you cannot take certain medications. The number one being, aspirin I'm allergic to, but the number one being Advil and Aleve. Aleve is a huge one. So I suffer from headaches, and you know how it goes. Sometimes you just get headaches and medication wears off. And after taking Tylenol, I would take an Aleve here and there. And even though I knew I wasn't supposed to, it would actually help with a headache. So I'm like, well, shit, it helps with the headache at least. Well, in that little crevice, in that little corner of my stomach, there's some infection going on, and basically my whole esophagus was infected, and my intestines and stomach had infection. So basically, but simple infection, no ulcers, which I was very surprised because I had ulcers back in Atlanta. But so the doctor, I went through the emergency room, 2 emergency rooms. Okay, so this was not an easy task. I did the right thing, and I paid cash money to go see my medical doctor. My medical doctor gave me some over-the-counter shit to take, which clearly at this point I was really, to be Michelle, I was shitting out white because I was drinking so much milk of magnesia type stuff for my stomach to stop hurting. So what she gave me did nothing. And I saw her on a Wednesday. I called on a Friday. Her nurse told me to go to an emergency room so they could do a scope and see what's going on. Go to an emergency room in Matthews, North Carolina, and wait there. Not too long. It wasn't too bad at this one. And I was told that they don't do the scope in the emergency room. So I basically had wasted my time. And was a little pissed off at the nurse for even recommending that I do such a thing. So needless to say, the weekend goes by. I try not to act like a big baby. I drink this stuff constantly. I just don't eat. I was dry heaving, and I was bleeding. In my dry heaves, I had blood. And if I did go to the bathroom, there was blood there too. So it was very concerning to me, but I waited, and I continued to take the medication that the doctor had given me. And I waited until Monday, and right at 8 o'clock I called, and I spoke to the nurse again, trying to get in touch with the doctor. The nurse called me back and said the doctor said to go to a bigger hospital that would scope me. So I had my friend Jennifer, Kelso's wife, drive me to some hospital in Concord, which is where the racetrack is, so it's a bigger city. And we went there. Aaron met me there. We sat there for 7 hours, I believe, in the waiting room. Hold on. Balsaki, don't eat your blanket. Get back to the doctor, and the first person who came in says, we don't do the scope in the emergency room. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I was frustrated. I was upset. I was in so much pain, and so just irritated. I mean, just give me an answer and let me deal with it, you know. So the doctor comes in, and he's sitting there talking to Aaron, and I don't have this memory that lasts like a goldfish. So he was talking to Aaron, and I looked at him, and I'm like, you're from Israel, aren't you? And he was like, how did you know that? And I was like, I work for some Israel guys, and you look, you know, you sound like them. And he was quite surprised that I knew that. And as soon as he walked out of the room, I told Aaron, I was like, he's going to get me in. Like, I knew, like, that divine intervention that I was going to get in. So, sure enough, it did take a process of other doctors having to come in. It couldn't one person couldn't just admit me. So he sent in 2 other doctors. Both those doctors agreed with him, and I was admitted. When I was in the emergency room, I broke out into, I don't know if it would be hives or a rash or whatever you want, but I was red and itchy all over. I looked like Mr. Krabs from friggin' SpongeBob. It was horrible. So the next day, I met with a gastrologist. And a gastrologist is different than a bariatric doctor. Bariatric doctors are the ones who do the weight loss surgery. A gastro doctor is the one who deals with your digestive system. So this doctor, Dr. Habib or whatever the fuck his name was, I don't know, very, very nice guy. He's like, okay, we're going to go ahead and get you scheduled and do a scope. I'm not sure what the throat scope is called, but we're going to go ahead and do the scope. The scopopedy, whatever. I know it's a colonoscopy, or maybe the other one's a throatoscopy. I don't know, but that's what we did. And when he went down there, he found it was very irritated. I had gastritis and stomachitis or some shit. So basically, my stomach was very, very irritated, very inflamed. And he found, just a slight infection starting in that L-shape area. Well, he also took 5 biopsies throughout my esophagus to my small intestines. You have a sphincter, yes, a sphincter like your asshole, that opens and closes and goes into your small intestine. So your food is closed. It processes your food in your stomach because your stomach acid is very, very strong. Don't quote me on how strong it is, but I know there's some nurses and doctors on this page, so they could tell you if you were really interested. And so when your food is digested, your sphincter opens and it goes into your lower intestine. So right here, blah, 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 at the lower intestines, they took a biopsy there as well. Now, doctor made it perfectly clear that the reason I was having such acid issues is because of my surgery. Even though I now have 80% or a banana stomach, I'm still producing 100% acid. Okay, so I will forever have to live on prescription acid medication to keep that acid down. So, and that unfortunately was the reason why I decided to get the sleeve versus the bypass, because I did not want to be on medication for the rest of my life. Ergo, my life. So, I'm in the hospital. It was 3 days. My bosses were great. Everybody was great and concerned. And my parents and Aaron got me flowers. And then I think every time I ordered food, because I was on a regular diet, I'm like, fuck it. I ordered everything. Me and Aaron ate. Like it was awesome. So, had a good time in the hospital, really. But it was time to go. So, again, that was early July. On July the 15th, I received a letter that I may have sitting right next to me, stating that everything from my scope was perfectly normal. So I'm like, okay, everything was normal. I was aware that they did a biopsy, but I wasn't aware of how many they did. He probably told me, but I don't remember. So I'm like, cool, whatever. Everything's great, move on. I wish I had the dates, and I do, but actually, here we go. On Monday, August the 8th, I received a phone call from the doctor who did my scope in the emergency room. No insurance, mind you. And this is all through the emergency room. And he called me and advised me that my biopsies had came back. They were all positive for cancer, and I needed to go and see an oncologist. I guess that's a cancer doctor. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you sent me this letter. He admitted that the letter was just something that is automatically sent out, whatever. And I'm like, so you're saying I have cancer in my stomach? And he's like, yes. Okay, even though he was from Alibaba or where the fuck ever he was from, yes, And yes, I hear yes. Yes, he said yes. So I'm like, oh my God. Of course, the first thing I do is call, I was actually at work. It was 12 o'clock noon that he had called me. And I had just walked into work, and I went and I talked to my boss. And I just maintained myself. And the first thing I told him, I had to go outside, and I called my mom, and I lost it. I'm like, oh my God, this freaking dude just called me and told me. And my mom's like, no way, maybe it's a misdiagnosis, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, Ma, the doctor did say that they retested it, whatever. I guess if something comes out positive, they multi-test you or something. I don't fucking know the process, okay? But, Michelle, you have cancer. That's what I heard. Then Wednesday, as I have it written, again, this is all written, Wednesday, August the 10th, I get a letter from his office advising that I have an appointment at his office. So confused, I call, and I'm like, why do I have an appointment in your office when Dr. Akuna Matata called me and told me that the next doctor and only doctor that I'd be seeing is an oncologist. And I was advised by his nurse that my cancer biopsies came back as negative. And I'm like, what in the I am so confused at this point, okay? I have no idea what's going on. So I pretty much was just in this state of what the fuck. I end up going to my general doctor, my PCP, whatever you want to call him, and talking to him, and he pretty much gave me some Xanax and put me on Paxil to help with the acid and also to help stabilize my mood, because I was lost. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So, and he was basically as confused as I am. And at that time, I really just needed my mom. And I called my mom and I asked her if I could come out there and just be with her. That's all I wanted, was to be with my mom. And so I went out there on Friday. That was August the 12th. I went off to go see my mom. And on the way to go see my mother, I get a phone call from the oncologist, the cancer doctor. And it was a female who sounded to me like she was almost in tears, but I don't know her. I don't even know her name. But basically in tears, apologizing that she should have had her business partner take a look at the results before making any decisions. So now I'm told again I have cancer cells, and the most complex or most confined cells were found in my lower intestines. Remember, so sphincter, okay? In here, the food goes into your lower intestines. That's where most of the cancer was. So we're talking, there's some sort of stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, and some intestinal cancer. So I go to my mom's house, and I'm just confused as fuck. I don't even really remember being at my mom's house, to tell you the truth. When things get stressful for me, they kind of fog up in my mind, and I kind of lose track of my thinking and my thought process. And so I remember being at my mom's house, but I just remember being upset. And of course, my parents are both very religious, and I am too, but I gotta tell you, if that was a test from God, I failed miserably, because I couldn't think of anything else. I truly just could not think of anything else. I was thinking about my son and Abby and my life. I was thinking about everything. Anyways, so I spend the weekend at my mom's house. I get back to Charlotte and go to work on Monday the 15th. On August the 16th, my birthday, I go to see a different doctor, a gastro doctor. I apologize. I rewind that. Monday, I go to see a gastro doctor. On Tuesday, I go in for a colonoscopy and a throatoscopy, whatever. The same thing I had with the first guy. So, I go and have the procedure. Aaron was there. Happy birthday to me. You're getting probed both ways, like you're abducted and shit, right? But I'm like, hey, I need some answers here. So, best birthday present I could ever get. And he went ahead and did the scope and said that he saw absolutely nothing. Cancer-wise, he said he did see 2 polyps somewhere up my ass, and he removed them, which said, I guess everybody has them. I don't know what they are. I'm thinking skin tags or something in your ass. I don't know. But he said for shits and giggles, he was just going to send them off for a biopsy. But truly, there was no issue whatsoever. So I'm like, again, my mind, I'm just like, you go 1 minute. And it was great news, don't get me wrong. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful news. But how do you go from 1 minute being told you have cancer, and cancer, what do you think of? I'm sorry, I don't really know anybody who's ever had cancer. I don't know any dead people, to be honest with you. Okay, but how do you go from I'm gonna die to oops, we fucked up to no, I'm sure you're gonna die to go to a different doctor and you're perfectly fine. All right, so it was a tough time. Now, let's move forward. My mom was going to get surgery on, I believe, August the 24th. So I had the rest of this week that I pretty much took off from work. And just to get my head together and whatnot. And I take off, I believe it was Friday. I took off Friday or Saturday, knowing I was going to go to Tennessee with my mom. I took off and took advantage of going to see my son, Jordan. So I drive to Atlanta, home, and go and pick up my son from work. And Mr. Responsibility works for a Ford dealership and has the keys to the whole place, and just adorable, right? Kills me. So I go and pick up my son, and as some of you may know, and my husband does know this, but I am going to share this, and I'm sure this person is going to see this video, but I don't care. I mean, just to add more for your understanding of why I think I was about to lose my mind. When I picked up Jordan, I recalled that Mr. Turner, my ex-husband, had been in touch with me quite a few times via Facebook and was letting me know his situation. And I'm not going to get into details about his situation because it's not my place to say that on his behalf. However, I will say his living situation right now is very, 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 very bad. Very bottom of the barrel. And I had recalled that sometime before he had sent me the address of where he was. So while I'm driving, making all those stupid singing videos that I was doing for y'all because I was bored out of my mind driving, I went ahead and located the place and found a phone number and called the place and was actually quite shocked that he was there. And he gets on the phone and I'm like, hey, it's Michelle. I'm in town. You know, I have your address. I was getting ready to go pick up Jordan. Do you mind if we stop by and come and see you? And he's like, oh my God, no. He was, he sounded shocked. And he's like, no, come on down. So, me and Jordan go and drive down to see Hank. And for people who remember the relationship between Hank and I, it wasn't very good, but I'm one of those people or morons, maybe, that if I tell you I love you, I'll love you forever no matter what happens. Doesn't mean I'll let you in my inner circle and let you in close and be a part of me, per se, but I'll still be there and I'll do what I can to help you. And, that goes for Hank, that goes for a lot of exes, a lot of old friends, just people, even a couple of family members that I don't really talk to, but it's just who I am. And, I don't expect anything in return, because one day, I guess ultimately I just assume that they'll remember that moment, and maybe when things change for them, instead of feeling ugly about somebody that they may be feeling ugly about, maybe in that moment they'll think, hey, Michelle really didn't like me at that time, or, I was really nasty to her, but she was still there, and maybe they'll move forward and they'll do that for somebody else. Okay, so that's why I guess I do it. And we're all human, we all fuck up. I'm probably the biggest fuck up there is, but at the same time, I'm probably one of the kindest people that there are, to a degree, to a very, very short degree, but it depends on the person. So, I don't go donating to fucking homeless people who are standing on the side of the road, but if I could, I'd offer them a job if I had it, or if I had an extra hamburger in my bag, I'd throw it at them. Not if it was half eaten, that's just being a bitch, but if I had extra, I'd give, but I don't put myself in a position to where my home comes first, that whole deal. So, needless to say, so we're divorced at this point, and I mean, he said some pretty ugly things to me in the past, some pretty ugly things to me, and whatnot, but still, I knew I had to see him. I had heard that he had a stroke. He informed me that he had a stroke. He has diabetes very, very badly, and given where he was living, it was just maybe to brighten his day. I know the man is still completely in love with me, and to a degree I love him, but again, I'm not in love with him, but I will forever love him. So Jordan and I pull up, and something happened to his neck a day or two before, and I don't want to do this because I'm going to have totally fucking huge turkey neck, but he was basically standing like his shoulder, okay, fuck my neck, okay? It was like he was standing with his shoulders to his ears, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It was not natural, and I'm like, dude, turn around. And I tried to massage him. I mean, it was hard, but not hard, so I don't know if it was a muscle thing or what it was, but he couldn't look up when he spoke, which kind of worked out since he was taller than me anyways, so I still had to look up at him, but he just wasn't doing, just not good at all. And so he asked that I actually stopped off, forgive me, I stopped off at a QT station and picked him up like an iced coffee thing, and I took out $20 at the ATM machine, and I only gave him 10, but I figured, hey, I'd appreciate a pack of cigarettes if I was in that situation. So, but I gave him 10, and he asked if we could take him to Goodwill up the street because he had just gotten hired for the city of Roswell, which is a pretty big deal. So he needed to go ahead and get some black shirts and black pants and whatnot. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. So he had 1 hour time limit, if that tells you anything, to go and do that. So we go to the Goodwill store down there. Not sure I can't remember what city we were in. And find him some shirts and some pants. And come checkout time, which I was on very limited funds for this little trip to begin with. Come checkout time, Jordan whips out his debit card and pays for his ex-stepfather's clothes. And anybody who remembers that relationship and the situation of them getting into a fist fight and whatnot, I spoke so strongly to me as far as how amazing of a little boy or little man that I actually have. And so Jordan paid for Hank's stuff, and we walked next door to the dollar store, Dollar Tree, and the $10 that I gave him, I was like, here you go, you get $10 worth of stuff, whatever. And he picked up just a couple of things, and once again, Jordan whipped out his card and paid for it for Hank. Not for me, not for Jordan. Jordan made it very clear that he did it for Hank. So that we ended up running Hank back to his place of living, and me and Jordan were pretty much speechless at that point, and I think we both were pretty emotional, but really just didn't know what to say, and probably still don't know what to say at this point. But in some ways, for my son to encounter that situation, I'm glad that he was there to encounter, to see that life isn't as easy as it may seem to be when you're under 18 and your parents are paying for everything. But seeing Hank was, it was very emotional. Very, very emotional. And, I wouldn't wish it on some of my worst enemies, but, I'm just playing. So anyways, we take off and we drive down to, I don't know, BFE fucking Atlanta, where my brother and his fiance, or I'm gonna call her my sister-in-law at this point, if my brother would just, grow some. But went to their new house and had some pizza and met some of their friends, which were very sweet, and got to talk to my brother. And my brother being the chiropractor, I always ask him for some of his crack, so got my crack on with my brother. Spent a little time. He got Jordan drunk. So the ride home, we didn't get to spend a whole lot of time, but it was pretty late at that point, 10, 11, and I'm an old lady. So I drove back home, and we're in downtown Atlanta, and still gotta love the speed and the asshole driving of Atlanta. But my kid had my phone on and was going through my music on my phone, and I was just rolling like the shit he was listening to, and just, it was hysterical to see my son drunk. So we end up getting back to Jordan's place, and then Jordan passed out. I posted a picture of Jordan passed out behind me, and so it was cute. And it's not that I got to cuddle him per se, because I had my back towards him, but just like felt good to be with my kid. And then so that was Saturday. Sunday, me and Jordan pretty much worked on his car, drove around, he bought himself a car all by himself, and so did a lot of that, working on his car and stuff. And then Monday, I took off to go see my parents, and my mom's surgery was scheduled for Wednesday I believe it was. So yeah, it was scheduled for either Tuesday or Wednesday. But I got to my parents' house and I was again very heartbroken to see my mom physically in the state that she was in. Like, clearly I could hear it in her voice when we'd be on the phone that she was in pain. And when you're telling me that your pain or your doctor's giving you pain medicine, I mean, my mom doesn't take medicine. I mean, she's just a stubborn woman, but you know, she usually, I think the highest thing she'd ever take would be Tylenol. She'd be fucked up on a Benadryl, you know what I mean? So to hear that she's having to take all this medicine, to have to lay on ice, to do these different things, and to see her not be able to walk and not to be able to stand up straight and yet still be in the kitchen cooking dinner for me and for my dad was so devastating for me. Like, I just don't think I was able to process it, to be honest with you. And I think I became angry at my dad. Now, I'm also going to remind you of the fact that my dad, he is my biological dad. He's Gardner, okay? So that's why I got that one that I posted that said Gardner, because it's special to me that he is in my life now. And his amazing sister, my Aunt Mary, who was in constant contact with me when I was in the hospital. And, I mean, there's just 5,000 Gardners out there. And to not have that growing up was pretty painful. So I met him. He surprised me by coming to Atlanta on my 35th birthday, and I basically didn't speak to him for probably about a year and a half, 2 years, because I just didn't know what to say. I mean, you live so angrily your entire life and you feel so worthless that some guy just left you, and you go, and let's be honest here, I mean, girls go looking for love, you know, and I've done some pretty fucked up shit that I'm not proud of, but only by the grace of God, I shit you not, did I forget that I did half that stuff. The day I asked to be saved was the day I forgot all that shit, and I ain't lying, and I know you hear me cussing, and I smoke, and I'm not perfect, but you know what? Jesus drank wine, you know what I'm saying? Life ain't fucking... I'm never gonna try to sit there and be some Bible beater, so that's wrong. For me, would be hypocritical, because that's not who I am. I am who I am, and I attract people because of who I am. And it gives me that doorway to speak to people about Jesus and God, and you know, so God works in some fucked up ways. I say that all the time. He surprises the shit out of me. Y'all think I'm playing, and I've said it before, but I'll be in the grocery store here in Little Locust, you know, cow and chicken town, and I'll see something, and something out of the blue that, you know, I was just thinking of, and somehow poof, it'll pop up, and I'd be like, damn it, God, you got me again. And I'll talk to myself, and people, seriously, you think I'm playing, they look at me. So I think people in town think I'm a psycho bitch that talks to herself. But I literally sit there and gotta be like, God, you got me again. And I bust out laughing. So whatever, call me crazy. But it attracts people. You know, if you want to know what I'm laughing at, just ask me. Because most of the time is God sitting there like smacking me in the face with something. And I love it. But so anyways, so it was 3 years ago that my dad had came back into my life. And I didn't know how to interact with him, and I did tell him, and he respected the fact, and he totally was like, you know, I get it, you don't, you know, I'm not expecting anything from you, and vice versa. He goes, you don't know me, and I don't know you, kind of. I mean, so he was the realist. I think in a sense I was the one who just wanted to go in a little girl dress in cute little baby shoes and run up to this man and just be loved and held and be like, oh my God, and you know, like all those things you see on TV that, you know, it's just, I didn't know how to react, and I still don't know how to react sometimes. And I was honest with him, and I have a hard time calling him dad sometimes because, to be honest, I really don't know what that word means. I don't, and I have that problem in church a lot too, where you'll be listening to the preacher, and the preacher be like, "Well, God's your father," and you try to coordinate father and God, and it's a very difficult thing for me. If somebody were to say God's your mother, I'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. Maybe I just made it make sense in my own head. I don't fucking know. But anyways, so I'm there, and so 3 years ago I meet this guy. I don't really talk to him a whole lot, and we're just different. We're the same, but we're different. And anyways, we're also saying, or I'm also trying to convey that my mother has been there for 38 years, okay? Not that I'm proud to say that, but I feel more invested in my mother, and I feel that my word over his word should bypass that without any question, because I know her, and I know the way she thinks. I know, and yeah, she's changed a lot, now that she's become a Christian and whatnot, and I get it, but 38 years, she's mine. If that's the easiest way to put it, she's mine. She's not his, she's mine. Yeah, she made the decision to get married, and maybe, in a sense, I don't understand the definition of marriage, because I'm not really going through a perfect one right now, and didn't go through a perfect one before. Maybe there is no perfect marriage. I say it all the time. You have to renew your fishing license and your fucking hunting license, but you never have to renew your marriage license. Makes sense, right? I should vote. I should go for president, because get married for 3 years, and if you do a good job, you fucking renew your license, or you give somebody a good or a bad review. I don't see anything wrong with that. If there's kids, then there's mutual, shit that you got to deal with, but at least you'd be responsible about it. Kind of like the whole idea that I believe you should be able to kill one person in your whole lifetime. If you could, people wouldn't be such assholes to each other, because you wouldn't know if I killed somebody already. So you ain't going to be a dick to me, because you'd be scared I might kill you. But again, I'll go, and we'll go through election year next time, or whatever. So these are the fucked up thoughts I have, but whatever. Here's the point. So I'm at her house, and there's things that aren't being done. There's a screen door that just kept getting in the way, and I'm like, come on, let's do this. Like, let's make this a father-daughter thing. I don't have any hinges. I'm like, well, get in the fucking truck. Let's go get some hinges. Well, apparently it doesn't work that way in BFE fucking Tennessee, where you got to go fucking cover up your own shit in your outhouse, So it was on my list next time when we dropped her off for her surgery, we were going to get hinges, and we did get hinges, okay? But here's where the problem lied for me, was I took a picture of a hamburger that my mother had made. Now, let me rephrase that. I posted a picture of a hamburger that my father had grilled and my mother had prepped. Okay? So there's the halvesies right there. However, again, I know my mother. The first time my mother asks you to do something, you better fucking get off your ass and go and do it. Okay? Otherwise, I'm not a kid anymore, but shit would go down if you didn't fucking listen the first time. She doesn't want to have to remind you. It's kind of like, and I'm the same way. If I tell you once, it's off my mental to-do list, and I figure that it's going to get done. Then when I go and see it's not done, it's like, what the fuck, did you not, are you retarded? Did you not hear me? People who worked with me, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because that's exactly how I am with everybody. If I say it, then I forget about it, and I shouldn't have to think about it again. So, knowing my mother, being how I am, I was upset at the fact that she was still up, She was still up doing stuff for herself. But in some sense, she's a fucking busybody too, and she doesn't know when to quit. So I do have to apologize in a sense to my dad, because he's right. She's always got to be doing something. No matter what the fuck it is, she got to be doing something. And apparently, she couldn't sit for a long period of time. She couldn't stand for a long period of time. She couldn't lay down for a long period of time. So maybe in some sense, now that I say it out loud, maybe she was going out of her own damn mind. Like, what the fuck? Like, just antsy, I don't know what the fuck to do with myself. Okay, maybe that's what it was. But it bothered me that when dinner was done, I did the dishes. Now, I had no problem doing the dishes, but my dad was sitting on his laptop, or whenever my mom, or not his laptop, his tablet thing, or whenever my mom would ask him to do something, he was on his tablet or on his computer or doing something. Okay, and that's just the kind of guy he is. I dig it. A lot of people live in the computer. Who the fuck wants to live in this world? I get it, and he's into doing music and art, and he does some phenomenal Epcot shit. But he just, it just bothered me that she spoke and he didn't jump, okay? And not that I would expect anybody to do that on a 24/7, because fuck that, alright? But it bothered me that I knew she was in pain. She's about to go into surgery, and she just was doing for herself still, and whatnot. So let's go back. That was on Monday. On Tuesday, I questioned the fact, what happens after your surgery? Do you go to rehab? How long are you in the hospital? What's going on? And the answer I get is, we'll find out when the doctor tells us. Well, I'm sorry, that's not an answer for me, okay? Because I'm missing work. I may need to stay here and help, especially after what I saw. And I didn't say anything, in that aspect. But me and my mom did have that conversation outside, that I was unhappy with what I was seeing. And she really didn't say much, but I saw it in her face, okay? And I called my husband. This was on Tuesday. I finally got an answer. I called the hospital. I called the doctor's office. I left several messages. I wanted an answer. What's after the surgery? Just tell me what it is, okay? And I'll figure it out. But this is my life we're talking about at the same time. I'm missing work. I'm having to miss time, and I call my husband, and his answer is, it's not my responsibility. Now, I've thought about this over and over, okay? And my answer is this. Aaron and I are completely different when it comes to responsibility. There's been times where I've been pissed at my parents or whatever, and we were scheduled to go, and it was for some event, and he's like, if you don't want it, just don't go. I'm like, dude, you don't not just go. Like, that's not an answer, But anyways, his response was, it's not your responsibility. Now, I got, at that time, on the phone, so angry. I was so angry, and I was so hurt, because it was like, you're my husband, and no matter if I'm right or wrong, you should back me up, no matter what, because that's what I would do for you. Even if you did the stupidest fucking thing in the world, I would still back you up. I may call you an idiot behind closed doors, but I'd still back you up. We're a team. And that is one of our biggest problems, is that we're not a team, and we just seem to constantly just be bumping heads. And, when he said that to me, I lost it. I really did lose it, crying. But then I thought about it when over the past couple of days, I've thought about it. And in some ways, I understand why he said that, because Aaron doesn't have any kids. That's, again, these are the issues that I have with him. He is all about himself. And that's all he's ever had to be about, was himself. Okay, so he doesn't understand. He hasn't had to sacrifice for a child at the age of 18 like I did, or, do what the fuck ever. You know what I mean? It's always just been about him. So maybe in some ways I could have reacted a little bit differently, but to hear him say that's not your responsibility, it's your dad's responsibility, but yet he's not seeing what I'm seeing at my mom's house at the time, it was just like, that was not an answer. That was not the response. And I could not live with myself seeing what I saw and thinking in 4 days my mom will be home with a brand new hip, won't be able to move. And what if she falls? What if something happens? My dad is 50s, and I don't think he's in his 60s. I don't know how old he is, to tell you the truth, but I do know that he's had several heart attacks and heart surgeries. He's not in the greatest of health. And to be quite honest, when they got together, we all thought that he'd be the one who'd go downhill. But yet, it's been my mom, okay? Which is ass backwards. And again, God works in some fucked up ways. I don't get it. I don't know. But my biggest fear was, what if something were to happen? What if she falls in the bathtub and he's on the other side of the house and he doesn't hear her screaming because he's listening to music or doing something on his computer, and my mom is laying there in pain? Or what if, they have stairs to get up to their house? What if she can't make it up the stairs? She's not light. She's put on weight. And I hate to say it, but without being able to move, what do? You fucking put on weight. Story of my life, ain't that, But what if he tries to pick her up? He can't pick her up, I tried to flip her. In the fucking hospital bed, they had this thing to flip her. I couldn't even flip her, alright? So how is he supposed to pick up my mom? How is he, my intention was to get a job out there and send money home, because I do have responsibility at home, and my parents, I'd take care of myself out there, of course, but send some money home, but be there for my parents, on the days that, if she had to drive to rehab, I could take off some of that responsibility off my dad and do it the 2 days that I was off, or whatever. And there was the idea of a therapist going out to where they are in Tennessee, and apparently I'm like, who the fuck's gonna come out to Tennessee? Like, are you kidding me? It took me 4 hours to get home one night because I fucking got lost from the hospital. So I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But apparently now I hear that it does happen. Either way, I was looking ahead. I redid my resume. I printed my resume 5 times. I went to 5 different places before I went to the nursing home after her surgery. He was there the day they decided what rehab facility she was going to go to. Okay? And I was not. I had left. I had passed out. I was so exhausted. The first night with her was so exhausting and heartbreaking that I had to go out to my car quite a few times just to go smoke a cigarette and just get away from it, just get away from it. And it wasn't her fault. Fuck. I could only imagine what kind of a fucking twisted beast I would have been if it was me, but to see my mom cry and to hear her, oh my, I just can't mentally deal with that. This woman who's raised me to be in pain, I can't deal with it, and I can't make an excuse for it. I wish I could, but I can't. But I just cannot mentally handle somebody like my mom, like Jordan, crying and not being able to do something to help them. And so my greatest fear was, what do I do? That's all I wanted to know was, what did I do? I didn't care what Aaron had to say. about it being my dad's responsibility. Okay? Because for 38 years, I was her responsibility. And the least I could do is to be there for her. Made sense. You know? And my brother's in Atlanta. He wasn't there. My son's in Atlanta. He wasn't there. And we're pretty much all we got. You know? And so there was no question in my mind that it was my responsibility. You know? And I still to this day believe it was my responsibility. After taking some time off and going to collect my fucking brain in a mental institution for 2 days, I still believe it was my responsibility. And I had no faith in my father, you know, and I said some pretty nasty things. I think I posted a video. I was so angry. When I got to the place, what ended up happening is I got to the, it was called the Unicoi Rehab, no. The Unicoi Nursing Home and Rehab Facility. Now, as soon as I packed my shit up and walked in that front door, the first thing I smelled was shit. Just like a nursing home. Second smell was piss. Alright? And when I walked in, nobody was there. Okay? And when I finally found somebody, it was this nurse guy that I had spoke to, named David. And I'm like, when I talked to David, I was like, David, I need to talk to my mom. Well, there's no phones in the room. How the fuck are there no phones in a rehab place, okay? In a fucking nursing home, okay? And my mom is supposed to be there? I'm not cool with that. How many fucking geriatric patients have cell phones, okay? But yet they don't even have a damn phone. So I'm like, all right, David, take your ass into her room and give her the cordless. We don't have cordless phones. Okay, people, am I wrong here? Am I wrong? Okay, the answer is, she'll have a cell phone. Well, she doesn't have a cell phone, okay? She has a tablet that I gave her, all right, that Aaron had bought me. When my dad got back to the house, okay, I had everything packed up. I went through all her drawers. I got all her clothes that I thought she would find comfy. I really didn't know what fit, what didn't fit, what would be comfortable. Like, can she wear pants? I didn't know, okay? And I never saw a woman with so many girdle panties in my life, and I'm thinking, all right, that's not going to be comfortable. So I went through every fucking drawer of this woman's house in her closet to make sure, and I told my dad, you need to go check the closet, because I was digging through everything, getting her clothes. I must have brought her 4 or 5 bags, I guess, full of clothes, okay? I didn't know how long she was going to be in there, all right? I was told a minimum of 2 weeks. Could be as long as 8 weeks, okay? I didn't know how long she was going to be in there, all right? So, when I was leaving the house and loading up the car, for some reason, I'll tell you, because when I was leaving the hospital that day, I go to pull out and my car won't start. So my dad has to come downstairs from the hospital, jumpstart my car. Which, of course, we're parked now behind 2 old ladies who are trying to leave. But I'm like, what the fuck? I can't even move my damn car. Okay? So we jumpstart my car. Jumpstart it. I drive away, get maybe 500 feet away from the hospital. My car just stops. Okay? Stops in the middle of a 4-lane intersection. Okay? Because that's just how my fucking life goes. Alright? And some homeless people were on the side of the road. They came up and they were helping me, trying to find people to come jump my car. Alright? And first thing I knew what to do was to call my husband. And my husband says to me, word for word, as soon as you get your car started, take it to an AutoZone or a Pep Boys or something like that and test your car. Okay? And I'm thinking, fuck that shit. If I could get my car going, then let me at least get to the house, which was an hour away. Well, hello, dumb Michelle. You just got 500 feet from the hospital and the car died. So, these homeless people helped me get the car started. And, I have no money, okay? I'm in the negative. So, I give a handful of candy to the lady because I'm a candy junkie. And I thank them, like, with tears in my eyes, and my mom's little dog in the car with me, okay? And I thank them, and I'm on my way. The first place I see is a Precision Auto Tune Center or something. And you know how a building looks where it's got the glass front, and then they got the bays on the side? Well, I pretty much pulled my car up right along the sidewalk, okay? I didn't pull into a parking place, because I'm like, what if they... I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I pulled up along the fucking window, and I walk in with this little dog, and I'm crying, and I'm like, oh my God, my car, blah, blah, blah. I told them the whole story, and they take my car back, and they're checking it. And I called my husband back, and I'm like, okay, I made it to a Precision Auto Tune, and the first fucking thing he says to me is, why didn't you take it to a Honda dealership? And I lost it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I'm in the middle of a highway, okay? Or a intersection thing. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. And you want me to, pull over and Google a fucking Honda dealership? I did the first thing that you told me to do. I took it to an auto place. That's what I did, and now I'm wrong, okay? I'm the wrong one here, alright? So, I fucking let him have it, of course. Like, it was bad. So I hang up and I call the hospital. Well, the phone's busy. Meaning, he's on the phone with my dad, okay? So I call the nurse's station, tell the nurse, get my dad off the fucking phone. I need to talk to him, okay? So I call right back. My dad's on the phone. I'm freaking out. I'm like, all of this shit, I'm freaking out, okay? And, I put the manager guy on the phone, like whoever was sitting behind the desk, they knew what was wrong with my car at that point. I put him on the phone with my dad. I have no idea anything about new cars, okay? You asked me about an old car, I could fucking do something. But I don't know no computer shit, alright? Apparently cars don't even have fucking, like, distributors anymore. I don't know, okay? So, I'm just like, here, gave him the phone. My dad paid the bill, $192 or $198. Like, that's what my dad needs at this point. $198 credit card bill for me, because of me. Oh my God. So I'm like, I'm so upset. I was so upset. So I'm like, thank God I'm on the road now. That's the night it took me 4 hours to fucking get home, okay? I get there, and just the weirdest shit happened. I don't even want to get into it. But I wake up the next morning, and the front door is open. The dogs are fed. This butcher knife that I was sleeping next to, or had, because I don't know where the fuck I'm at. And I'm sleeping on their bed naked, okay? The butcher knife is gone, alright? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Who's been here? Nobody else has, I have the key. Okay. So I'm like, what the fuck? So, alright. So then I got involved doing my resume, blah, blah, blah. Then my dad gets to the house, or he tells me they're in transit, okay? Get in touch with him. They're in transit. This is the name of the place. Google it, find it. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I'm on Craigslist doing job things. Sent out my resume, and printed out 5 applications. So then that's when I had to call David and say, hey, let me talk to my mom, because I wanted to say, hey, I'll be there a little later. I'm going to make some stops, go drop my resume off at a couple places. But that's when I found out there's no fucking phones in the damn nursing home, right? So my dad gets to the house finally. And I'm packing up the car with all this shit. My suitcase, because I plan on staying at the rehab place with my mom the whole time, okay? And for some reason, my dad says to me, maybe next time you come down here, you don't bring all your drama. And I'm like, what the fuck? What does that even mean, So I didn't say goodbye to him. I didn't hug him. I didn't say anything. I think when I pulled away, I made a snooty comment about yes, me and my drama will see you later or something. I don't even remember. But I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what did I do? You know? Anyways, so I get to the nursing home. All right, so I'm at that point already. So I find David, and David, I'm like, where's my mom? He's like, oh, she's over here in room, I believe it was 118. He goes, I haven't met her yet. I'm like, it's been 4 hours. Like, you haven't met her yet? What the fuck? Why haven't you met? Like, what the fuck is going on here? All right. At that time, the way this nursing home looked is you go through this front door and there's a long hallway, like almost in a star shape minus where you entered from. It was kind of like, it was a fucking nursing home, okay? So I go into my mom's room and she's just laying there. And the look on my mother's face killed me, all right? And I looked at my mom and I was like, are you okay? Are you in pain? You know, because David just made it clear he hasn't fucking seen you yet. And my mom says to me, I had to go to the bathroom, Michelle, and I couldn't make it. And I had an accident. Okay, so that's all she said. So now I'm at the point of, where was my dad? Where was David? Okay. Then it occurred to me, well, let me rewind again in my thought, sorry. My dad was the one who drove her to this nursing home. So he's not a stupid man by any means. He's almost as intelligent as I am, okay? But he walked into that same place. You can't tell me he didn't smell shit, all right, and smell piss and see how disgusting like this place was, and he left her. And that's what pissed me off so much. I would have, if it would have been me, no fucking way would she have been left there. We would have turned right back around, went to the hospital, okay? Now the story is, and I don't know how true it is, there are 3 different places she could have gone for rehab. There were no beds in any of those other places. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Okay? I believe that perhaps that one was selected because it was only 20 minutes from their house, which would have been mighty convenient. However, when you walk into the fucking front door and you smell shit, hell no. Fuck. My mom wouldn't have let me stay there. She wouldn't have let my brother stay there or my son. She wouldn't have let her fucking dog stay there. Okay? But he let her stay there. So this is like, now my mind at this point, and the shit that's being said and the things I'm saying, oh, I'm losing it. And I hear that my mom has an accident. I don't know where this accident occurred. An accident, I mean, she peed herself, okay? So, did she pee in the bed? Did she pee? She said she was trying to get up, okay? So, did she just pee halfway? Where did this occur? Okay? I don't know. But to hear my mom say that happened to her, fucking daggers. Okay? Daggers went through me. Like, you have fucking no clue. Alright? So, I have my little wagon with all my stuff in it. And I go to the bathroom. Or I observe where I'm at now. Okay? I take a second. And she's in this small room with a curtain separating her from some 5,000-year-old lady. I don't fucking know. Okay? So, I have to be very leery of the lights that I turn on because this old bitch is sleeping. Because my mom has to share a room with a nursing home patient. Okay? You can't separate your like, what the what? What is going on here? Okay? So, I go to open a closet to put my mom's stuff in, and my mom's like, no, that's not my closet, that's hers. There's an A and a B. Well, the seat that I'm supposed to sleep in is blocking this closet, yet I couldn't move that fucking seat because there'd be no place in the room to fucking move it to, okay? That's how small this fucking room was. It was ridiculous. If I knew dimensions, I'd fucking tell you, but I'd have to say it was a hospital bed and maybe fucking 12 inches from the curtain to the hospital bed, and then from the other side of her hospital bed, maybe 3 feet. If you put that chair in there, I don't know how big chairs are, okay? But that chair, like the recliner kind of chair that they put in hospitals. So, no fucking room at all, okay? And so, I don't know what's going on with my mom at this fucking point, alright? So, but I see it in her face, okay? I know my mother. As much as she wants to argue that I did the wrong thing or I made this about me or whatever it is that she wants to say, I don't care. The fact is, I know my mother. I know the look on her face. I know her reactions. I know her heart. I know this woman, okay? And when I looked at her and saw what I saw and heard her say those words to me, that was it. I was on fire. I was done. I was fucking done. And shit was going to fucking change. And her husband wasn't doing it. He left her there. So who else was going to do it? I was going to do it. Okay? Now, mind you, on my way, I got hired onto a fucking huddle house. Okay? Starting that following Monday. So here I am. I'm making those changes so I could be there for my mom. I already had a fucking job. Alright? What the fuck? What else do I need now at this point? Okay? I'm doing what I said I would do. I'm going to take care of my mother. Alright? So, I go out and I talk to David and I tell David how inadequate this room was. And David's like, well, there's nothing I could do about it but get the administrator, you know, to evaluate the situation below. I said, we'll get the administrator. It's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So he's like, you want me to call the administrator? So you're damn right, get her on the phone. I was like, come back and get me since you don't have a cordless, okay? And I'll come back behind here and talk to her when you get her on the phone. Or him, her, whatever. Turned out to be a her. Turned out to be a very, very nice lady, okay? And she explained the situation and I told her. I'm like, look, I dig what your problem is. All right? I do. I get it. I get it. There's nothing that you can really do. You can't build a new fucking wall or ward into this whole thing. I get it. However, this is unsatisfactory for my mother, okay? So I need to know what I have to do for my mother. This situation is your fucking problem, but that's my mother, and that's my problem. So, option number 1, I could discharge my mother. But if I discharge my mother without the doctor signing off, she gets no pain medicine. Duh, I'm not going to do that to my mother. Second option was to call an ambulance and say that my mom was in excruciating pain, get her back into the hospital that she had just came from, wait until the next day to where we would then have the option to call or make the decision of which nursing home, or not nursing home, what rehab facility she would go to, so we could start this process over again. I could be there and I could fucking find out more information. Her neighbors, okay, who lived in BFE, Tennessee, were recommending one specific facility, okay, because it didn't smell like shit. They said it didn't smell like shit. Okay, so I'm like, all right, cool. Let me go talk to my mother, but I want her out of here. And so I go to my mom's room, and I'm swear to fucking God, okay, first time I ever saw my mom be able to move on her own, okay, she was sitting on the side of her bed, sitting upright on the side of her bed with her feet hanging. You understand, okay? Here's her bed, right? Head of the bed, foot of the bed, her ass, and her feet hanging. I walk in, and I'm like, what are you doing? The night before, she couldn't fucking move. I had to try to flip her, and I couldn't move her. And yet, somehow, all of a sudden, she's sitting up like, is she fucking possessed or something? I don't know, okay? But I look at her and I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm ready to go home. I want to go home. Am I getting home? And I'm like, Mom, I can't get you home. Here's the situation, okay? I can take you home, but you won't get any pain medicine. And I can't do that to you, okay? I'm sorry. Like, you just had a whole fucking body part. Like, I can't do that to you. Or we call the ambulance, tell them that you're in excruciating pain and you need to go back to the hospital. Then you'll be readmitted to the hospital where you had your own fucking room, okay? And then we'll be able to make the decision later. And she said that she would not call the ambulance. She did not want to fake that she was in pain, which, trust me, I would have been willing to punch her in the fucking hip to make her be in pain if that's what it took. But she wasn't going to do it. So she somehow finagles her way back and covers herself up in the bed, and she goes, no, I'm fine, I'm okay. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is really? Like, these are I wish I could give you more options, but I can't. But I have one option to get you out of here. And she wouldn't do it. So, I guess this is at the point that I made it about me, okay, and not her, because I turned around when she said that, and you remember the Brady Bunch? Remember how there was a girl side and a boy side to get into the bathroom? There was my mom's room side and the other room side to get into the bathroom, with a fucking huge ass toilet seat that had shit on it. And I look at the sink, and there was shit on the sink. My mom swears it was chocolate milk. I stuck my fucking finger in it and I smelt it, and it was not chocolate milk. Okay? Look, it probably still smells if you want to try. Alright? It was not chocolate fucking milk. Those are my two options. Okay? So, I guess that's when I became selfish, and I made it about me and not my mother, because I told my mother that if she decided to stay there, I could not watch that. I could not have any part of her staying in that facility. I just couldn't. It broke my heart to fucking look at her and hearing that she had an accident on herself, and all I could imagine were cockroaches. I don't know why, but all I could imagine were cockroaches crawling over her while she slept. I mean, it was that disgusting. Well, then David comes in, and David says, the administrator's on her way to come see you. And I'm like, okay, who's she bringing with her? Like, what time, like, what's going on? Give me a heads up, what's going on? I don't know. Well, the administrator came in, big lady, reminded me of my mom, actually, a whole lot. She came in to basically talk to me. I was like, why are you even here? And she takes me into her office, and she's like, I just want to assure you that she's in a safe environment, and she's in a clean, we pride ourselves on cleanliness. We have 4 stars. And I'm like, really? You have 4 stars? Bitch, I could fucking draw 5 stars on myself right now. Like, just whatever, okay? 4 stars out of how many votes? 1? And I'm just like, so she's like, we're very, very clean here. Well, I turn around and I look at her floor. It had dust all over it. And I was like, you got more dust bunnies on your floor than I've seen on fucking Easter. How is that clean? And you have my mother, okay? David still had yet to introduce, like, she's not on an IV. She's not getting her medical, like, he hadn't seen her at that point. 4 or 5 hours in now. And I'm supposed to be okay with this? And she told me again what the options were. She's just like, Michelle, she can go back to the hospital if that's what you want, you know. And she apologized. I mean, she was very nice, okay? Don't get me wrong. She was very nice. But go home with no medication after you get a new bionic body part, or go to the, go, like those. If it was my mom and she had to make that decision for me, she would have sent me to the hospital. Okay, she would have found the situation extremely unacceptable, and I know she would have. And she'll say so differently now because this has created such fucking drama in our family that she'll say differently now, but I know better. And I know how much she loves her fucking kids and her grandson, and I hope when she watches this video for one moment that she thinks about the situation and what I saw, how I saw her, how disgusting this fucking place was. And just think for a second how she would feel if she had to leave one of her kids. Fuck that. If she had to leave Jordan, okay? If you had to leave Jordan in that disgusting nursing home, would you have done it? Would you have done it for Michael? Would you have done it for me? And don't fucking lie, because you wouldn't have. With what I saw, the look on your face, and how disgusted you were, you would have never, ever left one of us there. But yet, I've turned this around and made it about me because I found that place to be unacceptable for you. Say what you will, okay? Call me selfish, call me a bitch, call me whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I don't care. All right. I told the administrator that my mom had decided to stay there, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I could not sit there. And maybe in part it had to do with being with her the first night, and seeing how much pain she was in, and being ready to have to deal with that in the situation that we were in. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was just, I don't know what it was, but it was so beneath my mother. It was so unworthy of my mother, and it was a dump. It was a fucking dump. So I told my mother if she chose to stay there that I would have no part of it, and I had to leave. I couldn't stay there and watch this. I couldn't. So selfish me. I couldn't watch my mom sit there in this disgusting dump. So I'm selfish. Cool. Alright. So I ended up going to my car, and I made a pretty hateful video towards my dad. And I think I did so because I was so angry that he left her there. And I was angry of what I've seen. I had no trust in him, no faith that he would take care of my mother. The thoughts that came to my head at this point, being so fucked up from just a week of, hey, you got cancer, hey, here, that's why I'm making this video, okay? But I made a pretty nasty video, and to be honest, I really don't remember all that I said in it, but I know that I blamed him, and I know I was pretty pissed, and I probably told him to go fuck off a couple times. But I was so angry and disgusted in the situation. So I posted a video, and he watched it and he reposted it. And he called it rant, and then made a comment on the bottom that back in the day, people used to discuss things between each other, which I found quite humorous because he had just shared my video. So, come on. But, I ended up leaving Tennessee. I gathered my stuff and I left Tennessee. I left my mom. Not because I wanted to, but it was almost like I had to, because it was eating at me. Just the look of, just a look on her face of just pain and this innocence almost. This vulnerable, this look on her face. I just couldn't deal with it. And I wish my brother would have been there. I wish Aaron or Jordan or somebody else would have been there. Because I just couldn't do it. And, I mean, just the look on her face when I first walked into that nursing home and saw her in that bed. I will never in my life forget the look on her face. I'm sorry, I'm crying, okay? But I just couldn't stay there. And I left. It's the only thing I knew to do was to leave, because I couldn't witness it anymore. And my dad's now got an attitude with me about some drama shit. So what am I gonna do? Go to his fucking house and see what the fuck that's all about? No, I was done. Okay? I was done. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a supportive husband that I could call and talk to. I had no one. So, I guess I was selfish. Okay? And I went home. And I guess I was so tired, I ended up sideswiping a pylon on the highway once I got to Charlotte. And I was like, oh fuck. And I had been drinking McDonald's coffee. They have this like iced coffee, and if you get extra caramel in it, it's really fucking good. That's why I got this fucking chin. But anyways, I sideswiped this concrete thing, and it was like literally I closed my eyes for a second and felt like I blinked and it happened. And I'm like, oh my fucking god, like who saw that shit? Well, luckily there were no cops around. So I went into the right lane because I was about to turn into this. Their fucking highways here are ridiculous. And apparently I closed my eyes again, and next thing I know, I'm getting pulled over. So I got pulled over, and the cop came up to me, and I'm like, I was just crying. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, have you been drinking? I'm like, dude, it's the last damn thing. I don't drink. I'm really tired. I just drove in from Tennessee. I live in Locust, so I'm like 30 minutes away from the house. I'm like, I'm just so tired. And I was crying, and he didn't even really ask for an explanation. And then another cop came up along the left side, so the passenger side of my car, no, right side. So came up along the passenger side, and he's like looking in like, ma'am, are you okay? And then I'm thinking, oh god, thank god. Apparently concrete didn't get on my car, because he would have seen it, obviously. So I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm just really tired. So of course I give my driver's license. The cop comes back and he's like, Michelle, you need to go to the closest gas station, get you some shit called Sundrop, which is like the nastiest fucking soda. It's full of caffeine. He's like, walk around for a minute and just wake yourself up. So I do that. I'm sitting there fucking around with a guy who was working that night, and he was asking me why I was so upset, and I just fucking lost it and was talking to him. And then I dropped my fucking phone, and shattered my entire iPhone screen. So, of course, now that'd be like $150 to get fixed. So that's why I went out and bought a new little fucking smartphone. I don't know what the fuck I bought, to tell you the truth. A Straight Talk phone. But it was like one of their $40 phones, so never on the damn phone. It just, people know not to call me, fucking text me or Facebook me, so I'm like, what do I care? But anyways, I get home and I slept the entire day, and at that point I have no idea what day it was. I'm sure Aaron can tell you, but I had no idea what day it was. And I don't know what happened between Aaron and I. I remember him calling my dad. I was sitting on the computer, and I was very angry still at the lack of compassion that my husband would have when I'm freaking out in the middle of an intersection, okay? And then I call you back and you yell at me. Or I tell you I need to be there for my parents and you yell at me. Like, all I ever get is fucking yelled at. Constantly fucking yelled at. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I got to go. Like, I have just, the situation is not fucking good, you know? And I don't deserve it, you know? And I'm allowing myself to be beat up, and I don't fucking deserve it. I mean, I'm not fucking perfect, you know? I never will be. I'm pretty close to it, but I'm not perfect. But I'm just like, there's no fucking compassion, and I can't talk to him. I'm not even gonna go into it. I mean, it's just not a fucking good situation. You know, now mind you, I will tell you, when the stomach acid shit had started back in July, that was right after we visited my mom, and how upset I was over what my mom looked like. And there were a lot of issues between Aaron and I at that time, where my mom even asked him if he wanted to be married, and he said no. And we met with a pastor, and he told the pastor he didn't want to be married. Okay? And so here I am, like a fucking reject, living in this man's house. So it just was like, fuck it. I gotta go. This is not fucking working out. You know? I'm so much better than fucking being talked to the way that I'm talked to. And I think the situation in Tennessee just made it clearer for me. And yeah, so I was on the phone with my brother, and actually I called my son, and my son said to just pack my shit and come live with him and his roommates, because that's the kind of fucking, that's what family does. And then I called my brother and AJ, his sister-in-law, and they're like, come on down, you know. So it got to the fucking point where I had messaged my dad on Facebook that because I heard it, Aaron had called him and said, I guess the situation now, you're not going to be coming here in October for some fucking hillbilly race or something. And I couldn't hear him on the phone, but I knew the answer was no. And I Facebooked my dad a message that I wanted to talk to him or something, and let me know when you're on, because all they could do was Messenger at the time, and got no response. And I'm like, well, I gotta run to Walmart here soon. And that's when he came back telling me that, God, I wish I had the message in front of me that I could read it to you, but basically that I was self-medicating myself because I had gotten fucking these Klonopin fucking things for anxiety. You can see that. And fucking Paxil for my doctor. So, stop medicating myself. Which, by the way, Dad, Father, Tom, how many did you take when we went and got our tattoos? How many did I give you that you took? And you want to try to call me out? Okay? So, and it was just basically him saying that, I made the surgery situation about me, and it wasn't about me, it was about my mother. And I think I pretty much told him to go fuck himself at that point. And that was the last thing that I had to say to him. And at this point, well, then at that point, Aaron went to work. I went to my medical doctor, my MD, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm at the end of my rope. Like, I am literally, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And look at that gray hair. Isn't that disgusting? I'm so fucking old. Look like Tim Burton going on here. So, went to my MD. He sent me over to this shrinky-dinky office that I went to before, where I got these from. And they asked me what I wanted to do. And I told them I wanted to just go somewhere for a while. I wanted no access. I wanted nothing. I just wanted to be left the fuck alone. And he told me that there were some like shrinky places that I could have gone to based on my insurance, that I could have called around for, like mental health places, or I could go to the hospital, which was right around the corner. Now, I chose the hospital because I'm like, well, that's where I'll see like an actual medical doctor and get on some medication, right? Like, because clearly my mind is fucking lost. I don't know where my mind is. And that's where I'll get a real doctor. I don't need therapy. I don't want to sit there and fucking color and do stupid shit like that. I want a fucking doctor. And he's like, yeah, he goes, that would be the best place. So of course, that's where I went. And still went through the emergency room. Again, second time in the emergency room. I was in the emergency room when my mom was in the hospital because my right side, thinking it was my gallbladder, which I had mentioned before. And I'm in there again thinking it's my gallbladder or even a kidney stone. I'm fucking peeing blood, okay? So I'm pretty sure I passed a fucking stone or something when I was there too, but the doctor asked me, and I pretty much was like, you know, he's like, you gotta be suicidal. I'm like, look, I'm not playing that game again. We done played that game before. I'm like, I want to voluntarily put myself in there. You know, I just need to be away for a while. And he did it. And Aaron was there with me. He brought me some clothes, which was hysterical because I wore the same clothes for 3 days, but not even gonna go there. And the first day I just stayed in my room. And all I did was thought and cried and just replayed everything in my head over and over. I didn't leave my room. I didn't eat. I didn't do nothing. I wanted no part of it. I just needed to be away. And that's what I did. And it was, yeah. So, then the second day, I actually walked out. I think I met the doctor the first day. I don't remember. I think they just left me alone because that's really all, you know, they came trying to talk to me and get vitals. And I'm like, can you just leave me the fuck alone? Like, please, like, just, I'm in, like, let me just not think about anything. Let me get my head straight, you know? And So they respected it. I could have left at any time, but I chose to take a couple of days, take a couple of real honest days, and I called Aaron a couple of times. My Aunt Mary called me every single day that I was there to check on me, and she would, I guess, make posts for me on Facebook. I haven't really read anything on Facebook just yet, but I'll get there. But the second day I left my room, and I actually, out of the whole section, there were 12 beds, so there were only 12 people. Very small community in the psych ward, we'll call it. And the first day I didn't really say anything or speak to anybody. But then the second night I was reading the Bible, actually, and one of my favorite passages was, forgive me, I believe it's Matthew 15. Matthew, let me see. I bet you I got it up right in front of me. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out how to combine this video, because when I went to go look at this script, or what scripture it was, I lost the video, stopped running. So, but it's Matthew 15 through 16, to where it, forgive me, basically says that you are the light of the world, and to shine for the world to see. So, needless to say, I think I've posted that on my page a gazillion times, because that's my favorite scripture. But that second day when I went out, I really just, I don't talk a whole lot, believe it or not, and I observed people, and I was listening to stories, and basically there were just amazing people in there, in their own right, of course. There was this ghetto guy who I believe overdosed or was purposely trying to hurt himself due to a girlfriend. Good looking dude, really fucked up. There was an anorexic girl in there. There was a meth head girl. There was an old lady. There was a black lady who, her name was Yolanda, and Yolanda couldn't have children of her own. So she, and I'm not laughing at this, she had 21 baby dolls that she had purchased, and she told me she changed their diapers, and she fed them, and she used baby powder on them, and so she was a little odd, but I thought it was kind of sweet that in her heart she just wanted to take care of something. And there were others in there that I really didn't link up to. There was a little old lady named Judy who lives right around the corner from me, actually, and will be going to church with me. I got a lot of phone numbers, but there was one gentleman in particular. His name was Paul, and Paul was addicted to heroin, and something happened that got him in there. I'm not sure if he was placed there like by the cops or by himself or whatever the case may be, but he was there, and he and I would watch Impractical Jokers together, and he would call his wife and would be crying hysterically on the phone, begging her to forgive him. And Paul and I would just joke around, watch the show, and just bust that one. This fucking show is hysterical. But I said to Paul the second night that no matter the situation, he's got kids, he's got, the legalities of she can't just kick you out of the fucking house kind of a deal. But I don't know what it was that I said, but the ghetto guy, his name was Larry, and he was sitting there at the same time, and I told Paul, we started talking about churches, and I told Paul that, there's Bible in your room. If you're bored or you're crying or you're feeling upset or whatever, go read the Bible, If you're looking for answers, the only place you're going to find them is in the Bible, Today being the third day, we actually had a group meeting, and Paul started to tell his story. I didn't know his story at this point. Started telling his story and was looking at me, and he walked up to me in front of everybody, and he walked up to me looking like this, and grabbed my hand and pulled me up and said that last night he prayed to God and asked God to forgive him, and that basically he just gave his life back over to God. And of course I just looked at him and I was like, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard, because that's the only way you can do it. I don't care what anybody says or thinks, or at the end of the day, it's the only way that you can do it. And it wasn't until I read that scripture again for the 100th time that it really sunk in that maybe I was there for other reasons than just myself, and that's when I opened up and I started learning about these people. And then today when I was leaving, after our little group session, and today when I was leaving, the ghetto guy, Larry, walks up to me and he hugged me, and he's like, I haven't gotten that far yet. He goes, but I just talked to Jesus for the first time when I went back to my room. I was like, oh yeah? I said, what'd you say? And he said, I need help. I said, okay, did you hear anything? He's like, no. I said, then keep asking. Keep talking. Don't stop, And he's just like, Michelle, I've been in prison. I've been in all these places. And for the first time, he goes, fine, I have an answer. Or I think I have direction. And he's like, here I am ready to go to rehab number 500, but now I have direction. So I was touched. I mean, there were the two guys, and now little old Judy, who's the cutest little thing with her no teeth, and wants to go to church with us and everything. So maybe all this amounted to meeting Paul and Larry and Judy. Maybe this all amounted to my relationship with my husband changing. Because I heard the doctor actually had to call Aaron yesterday just because he's my outside source. And Aaron told the doctor how great I was. And apparently we need to hit the reset button. And when I heard that, I was just like, my husband said that? Are you sure you called the right person? And he said, yeah. He said he had mentioned that he hasn't been treating you very well. And you guys need to hit the reset button. And of course I start crying. The doctor's like, if you start crying, I'm going to keep you here another day. So I was like, fuck you, that ain't going to happen. But, sometimes bringing ourselves to the state of just pure, humble nothingness is the most important thing that we can do. again, why I make this video looking like shit. I mean, do I really want to look like this in front of you? No, but my hair and my lack of makeup is not who I am. You know, my heart is who I am. And, you know, I guess throughout it all, I'll say I'm sorry if that makes somebody feel better about the situation. But I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I feel like I did everything that I possibly could have. And I'm not perfect, and maybe I could have done something differently. But if you know me, I'm a take control type of bitch, you know? And when it comes to my family, I would do it the same exact way again. You know? I would step up and I would step in and I would defend until I was not needed anymore, basically. And that's how I feel that this whole situation went down. And I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said about it. Everybody has their feelings. People don't know the whole situation, but yet like to make comments and think they know the situation, but they don't. And people don't know me. You think you may know me, but there's very, 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 very few people who do know me. And, you know, if you say you love me, then you love me whether I make a mistake and do something stupid, or I win $1 million, or I'm living on the street. So don't tell me you love me and then judge me when you don't know the situation. And if you do know me and I'm wrong, you should still love me, because that's what I would do for you. That's what the Bible says to do, you know. So, with the past couple of days and thinking and whatnot, I'll give you your apology to whomever thinks they deserve one. But I'll say it this way. I'm sorry that I am who I am, and I'm not going to change. I'll never change. I'll always be in control, a control freak. I'll always defend. I would kill for the people that I love. And that's just who I am. So you can take it or you can leave it. And if you decide to leave it, I hold no animosity. There's been many people that have come and gone, and they always come back, you know, in one form or another. But I'm not going to change my heart and my dignity, if that's the word that I really want to use at this point. I just am. And I would do it all over again, the same exact way. You know, I don't know what the future holds, to be honest with you. I don't even know if I have a job at this point. I've missed so much time. I don't know if I'm going to stay in North Carolina. I don't know what I'm going to do. Right now, I think I'm just going to sit back and see what happens, kind of a thing. If an opportunity does arise to where something else opens up and I can start over somewhere else, then I may take it, or I may not. You know, it sucks in the whole aspect that marriage is supposed to be forever. But maybe it's not, you know? Maybe that's like just old-timey shit. I don't know. I don't know what to say, you know? At first, me and Aaron were going to get married right away. We didn't get married until like 3 years after we started dating. Aaron hadn't dated anybody longer than a year. So when the pastor said to Aaron, clear as day, hey Aaron, this is what marriage is called. It's not always fucking newlywed shit. You know, maybe something lit up inside him. I don't know. Or maybe he'll never change. It's not my job to change him. You know, when my job and the value that I could be to somebody else could be better used. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. You know, maybe it's my short-term marriage that is just what it's supposed to be to change Aaron. I don't know. I don't know I don't know. I don't have answers. But I'm not going to sit here with regret over what happened with my mother. And I want to make that very clear. And the letter that was written and posted, I did write. And I mean every word of everything that I've said. So, again, take the apology, you know, you just take it how you take it. I can't make you feel one way or another. I say how I'm me. I say what I say. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't have to stay, you know. And that's it. That's all I got to say. You know, maybe I could use this crazy hair and we'll make a new, oh my God, make a new Edward Scissorhands or something. Maybe I'll get lucky and Tim Burton will see this shit. This is ridiculous, but that's all I'm going to say. So, situation is closed as far as I'm concerned. I'll read your comments about whatever. Actually, I probably won't, because I just want it. It's a dead conversation to me. Right now, just that's all I got to say. So, I love you all. It's fun talking to a computer. Now, I hope I get to merge these two videos together because I totally fucked it up. But, of course, watching me for 2 hours, wasn't that better than reading like 15 pages worth of shit? I don't know. I think I'm a little more entertaining. Probably look a little better if I put makeup on, but fuck it. Who cares? Alright, I love you guys. Talk to you later.